Hey, Simon here. This is a little performance comparison. I'm on 422 and this is my little particle system. It's CPU particles and here is the game. And I will switch to the monitor so that we can see the FPS. And what we will see is several spaceships which come close to me, and they have a lot of I'm not these spaceships, the other ones, those ones, and they have a lot of little particle systems as engine on their back. And we see CPU particle systems, and it should be roughly 100 chips or something like that, with 5 particle systems each, so it's a lot. And the performance goes down, like the FPS, from 60 to 35. Okay, so my expectation is, first, when I increase the particles, the particle amount, and of course the frame rate goes lower and lower. But when I switch to GPU particles, it will all be better. So let's try first. My assumption here, I will just increase the fire to 500 instead of 5 spawn rate. So here we will see that actually my assumption is right. Debugger, monitors, and when we will, start the game, we will see that there is indeed a very, very low performance suddenly. It should go to 7 frames right now. 9, 8, yes, so it's super slow. So that this is actually completely what I would expect. Like I said, what I would also expect is that when I switch this to GPU particles, should all be way better. So let's just do this. Here there is this little convert to GPU. I will also switch the smoke, and now this is both GPU particles, and let's see how this works now. Debugger monitors, yes, here we are. So let's go. And what we will see here, which is already interesting, the performance is not that much better. It should be at 14 or 12 frames. So it's double of what we got with CPU particles, that's true, but it's still not super good, you know. I mean, if we load a lot of performance or work to the GPU, I expected better frame rates. But what's even more interesting here, just hold the FPS, the 12 to 13 or 14 in your mind. Because what I do now is I will go now and reduce the amount to 5 again. So there's not many particles being emitted at all. Monitor, okay, here we are. So just like that. And what we will see is that the performance actually stays the same in comparison what we saw before. The performance now goes again to 13, 12, 14 FPS. It's still GPU particles. So what we learn here is that actually CPU particles seem to be more efficient if you have not a lot of them. But then remember, at the beginning of the video, we got 30, 35 frames with all of these CPU particle systems. And here, with the same amount of particles, but as GPU particles, it's it's horrible. Actually, it's a third of the frame rate. I mean, just to prove it, let's just go here, convert to CPU again, and here also CPU again, and then let's see how it goes. It should be reproducible. That should be not a problem. Monitors, FPS, and then let's go. As another thing, which is a little bit unfortunate in Godot, so here again we see the performance going down, but it should stay at 35. At 35 FPS. So this is something which is interesting. I did not expect that. Anyway, what I find also interesting is that you cannot see, or you cannot really debug the particle performance. Let's just go to a very bad performance again. Let's see this, many particles, but CPU. So this will of course be very, very bad. And interestingly, maybe you have better knowledge about the system, but when we see this here in the monitor, performance goes very, very bad. So what we will see here in the profiler, if we start this, we will actually see that the process time is very, very high. So we see that there is the particles being calculated and very, very expensive. The problem is I don't see this anywhere down here in the list. So if we look here, we have a high process time, yes, but I cannot see the particles. Here there is physics 3D and then 2D, but this is only 14 milliseconds. And remember, we have almost 100 for the process time. And when we go down to the scripts, we only have 2041 milliseconds. So the calculations for the particles doesn't seem to be in here at all. So this is a little bit of a problem if you want to debug what exactly is eating up performance. And just as a little comparison, when we delete the particles completely, let's see what the performance is telling us in that case. Let's go. Okay, so here we get, we should stay close to 60 FPS actually. Yeah, so as you see, when we don't have the particles at all, then we stay at 60. So this means CPU particles cost us, when we have so many particle systems, 50% of the frame rate. And GPU particles cost even more. That's really crazy. It's yeah, almost like 10% of the frame rate is left when we use GPU particles. Very interesting. I did not expect that. Hope you learned something. And if you have more information about all these systems, maybe you have knowledge how to debug particle systems or maybe how to improve performance, then let me know in the comments.